UFC Perth just wrapped up, and we had Carlos Ulberg killing the hopes and dreams of Dominic Reyes with the first round knockout. We had a lot of really good fights throughout the entire card. I think the card delivered pretty much, even though, a lot of the Perth fans didn't show up in bulk as we thought they would. But for the most part, the card was pretty entertaining. I'm going to go through each fight, going over the predictions, maybe do a few matchups here and there for the winners coming up next, the big losers that we had throughout the night. And make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the video underway. First fight of the night, we had THAINARA taking on LOOKBOOME, and exactly how I predicted Alexia would win, a pretty tough decision. She looked pretty good throughout the fight, was very, physical with Loma, taking her down pretty much at ease, utilizing a lot of the trips, didn't really take much damage in the striking, landed a lot of ground and pound as well, and she looked very good for her, her ranking debut against a pretty solid opponent, which I've been telling you guys, I thought Loma would end up getting a ranked opponent next, but they gave her Alexia, and Alexia delivered on, the hope that the UFC has for her. So it's going to be interesting to see what they have next. As far as the matchup goes, I think maybe, I don't know, it depends on, how high they want to shoot her up, because strawweight is kind of booked as of right now. I'm not really sure where they're going to go as far as a Alexia matchup, because she is, a training partner of Amanda Ribas, who's still in the rankings. Maybe I would have said an Angela Hill fight, but I think she's a little past that at this point. And, Angela is booked up. Maybe a Loopy fight. I think that's probably the most sensible matchup. Loopy coming off that win against Jessica Andrade last time out. I think a Loopy fight probably makes sense. Everybody else is pretty much matched up. I think Tabitha Ritchie has a fight coming up. I believe it was announced not too long ago either. So I would go Loopy Godinez, Alexia THAINARA. That could be a pretty tough fight too. I do think Alexia would be the favorite there, and I would end up picking her in that matchup too. But really good performance from Alexia. Delivered. It looked like a -230 favorite, and yeah, started the card off with a W. Next fight, Brando PERIČIĆ taking on Elisha Ellison. I told you guys it was going to end under half a round, and that's exactly what Brando did. Came out and got Elisha out of there pretty easily. Was pretty aggressive. Started off, pretty measured. Elisha did land, I believe, a solid combination. Did have Brando not necessarily wobbled or anything like that, but he respected what was coming back. But when he, turned up the fire, got back on the offense, Elisha was not able to handle what was coming back. Brando is a very powerful heavyweight. Definitely looked like the better UFC caliber fighter at this point in their careers, and made quick work of him. 1 minute or damn near 2 minutes in the first round, got him out of there. Had, Elisha Ellison on the oxygen machine, didn't really look like he was in the best shape after getting knocked out. So big win for Brando. Like I said, the heavyweight division definitely needs some new faces, and I do think he could be one of them. I don't know where to match him up right now, but he's definitely somebody to watch out, because his grappling game is coming together. We see the power. His striking is up there as well. So keep an eye out for Brando PERIČIĆ. I do think, he'll probably get in there one more time before the year is over, and we'll see what they got next for Brando PERIČIČ. Good win for him here. Next fight, we have Michelle MONTAGUE taking on Luana Carolina, where we had a point deduction. We had Michelle getting cracked on the feet, but ultimately she wins the fight, unanimous decision. I did say this was going to be a tough fight, and I did say she was a candidate, for a parlay buster, and she almost did get, dropped. Well, she got wobbled, buckled a few times throughout this fight, because Luana is a pretty nasty striker. Not necessarily known for her power, but she gave Michelle everything that she could ask for, and Michelle did look good, I will say. Towards the end of each round, she started to gain more confidence in her grappling and her wrestling, and was taking Luana down pretty much at ease, controlling her. There was a moment where Luana landed a illegal up kick where Michelle, was in full guard. Luana was creating separation, kicked her dead in the face, and she was uh she had a point taken away. So she after that she came out very aggressive because she wasn't, Michelle wasn't awarded the position where that's what she was actually looking for, rather than, the immediate point taken away from Luana. But Luana got on the gas immediately after that. Michelle was able to take her down, control her. Did look for some submissions, but ultimately she walks away with the unanimous decision win. Not gonna say I'm really impressed with her because, like I said, that striking still needs to come together. But she can, scrap together some good wins against women that can't really defend the takedowns. And it was pretty, good to see that she was able to make the weight, no issues. So she is one of the stronger, bantamweights in the division now. So we'll see what they do for Michelle Montague looking, moving forward. If they give her, a nasty striker next, I think I'm probably gonna fade her unless we see the striking develop a lot more. Need to see some more footage of her in training, things of that order. But good win for Montague here. Need to see some improvements in the striking though. Next fight, Colby Thickness taking on Josiah MUSSASA. I will say I wasn't thoroughly impressed with Colby. He is a dog, which I do respect. So he was able to grind out the win with, I think he shot probably like 15 takedowns. He was on it, very adamant about getting Josiah down because he was cracking him on the feet. Every time that, Colby was getting hit by a shot by Josiah, it looked like his body was, real loose, especially down in the leg area. Josiah was landing some pretty good leg kicks. Was not, the one thing that I pointed out to you guys was that his fight IQ was something to monitor because Colby was closing the distance, not necessarily, he didn't really do a good job at doing it, but when he would tie up with Josiah didn't have the urgency to get back to space where he was having a lot of the success. He was, getting taken down, even if he wasn't, sustained in the, on his back. If he was taken down, he didn't really, not get to his feet the proper way. He was just exploding up, and Colby was able to, you know, shoot, if you look at the first round, he was able to, reverse that first round. Got damn near could have gotten a 10-8, but got into full mount, landed some ground and pound, and definitely won that round back because he was getting picked apart on the feet. And then, late in that third round, Josiah was pulling away for the first half of the third round, but Colby closes the distance, ties him up, gets him taken down utilizing the trips, and he wins that third round 29-28. Very clean win from Colby. Well, not a clean win, but a clean stolen victory, we could say, from Colby here. And Josiah there's 2 losses in the UFC. I don't know what the UFC is gonna do for him next. Colby, I will say, another against a guy who can defend takedowns a little better. I will say Mussasa's takedown defense did look better, but somebody who's more competent in the wrestling defense and the grappling defense and has some striking capabilities, it's going to give Colby Thickness some issues. So, not sure where he goes next. The bantamweight division is deep, man. And if he wants to get in there again before the end of the year, I think it could be a little dangerous for him. So, good win for Colby. Don't know where they go, though. Don't know where they go. We could play a little bit of matchmaker for bantamweight. Bantamweight is just so deep, man. I don't know where to do. Let's see where the Tapology got him. I don't imagine him to be top 60. Yeah, I don't think he's top 60. He's probably, yeah. Like I said, not top 60. Um I mean, what do you do with Colby? I don't really know. He lost to Alexandre, so you can't really shoot him up super high. Hmm. Maybe you give him Elijah Smith. I don't know if he's gonna get in there quick though. Before the end of the year. Uh, yeah, I don't know what to do, man. Maybe Su Young Yu. Maybe that's the matchup. Su Young Yu, Kobe Thickness. Let's see what that, what we get with that. Bantamweight is just too hard to matchmake because of how deep and loaded that division is. But yeah, good win for Kobe. We'll see what the UFC got next for him. Next fight we had Jamie Mullarkey taking on Rolando Bedoya. 29-28, like I predicted. Bedoya did look pretty good in that third round. Was turning up in the striking department. Jamie Mullarkey was just a little too well rounded for him. Although he didn't secure, a lot of takedowns, just threatening it was, enough to frustrate Bedoya. Jamie's hands did look okay for the first, round and a half. I would say this later in the second round, Bedoya started to turn it up a little bit. In that third round, his coaches told him, hey, you're hitting him with everything and it's hurting. He doesn't really have much for you. And, he definitely listened very well to his coaches because I thought he was going to get Jamie Mullarkey out of there in that third round. Bedoya, man, he's just, he doesn't have a win in the UFC. It's like 4 losses in a row, if I'm not mistaken. 3 losses in a row, all in the UFC. I just don't know. I mean, he can put on a scrap, He's not necessarily like a good fighter, but he's someone that if you want to have a little bit of entertainment value, you can have a star in the making go up against him, but I just don't think he's UFC caliber, I don't think he has it, man. He's a competent striker. He's not that great at anything. His jab was pretty solid in that third round, but Jamie was very tired, shooting the takedowns back to back. But still, Jamie Mullarkey pulls out the win here, utilizing a very well-rounded game plan, and it just looked like Rolando Bedoya didn't know how to do anything other than, shoot the double underhooks and strike. So I don't know, man. Mullarkey taking that year off, rested his chin, did exactly what he needed to do, and gets back in the W column. If I have to match make for Mullarkey, lightweight, man. Mullarkey versus, let's see. You could do Mullarkey Bobby Green. You could do you could do you could do Mullarkey Kawe. Kind of sounds good. Mullarkey T-Rex kind of sounds good. Um Mason Jones. There's some fights available for Mullarkey. It's just, is he gonna take it? That chin was getting tested late in that third round. I do think, a better striker probably puts him out again. Don't think that, we've seen the last of Mullarkey getting cracked, but good win for him here, taking on Rolando Bedoya. Next fight, we had the lock of the week. Like I told you guys, live for the knockout, came through with the knockout, plus 500, plus 550, some books, wherever you were seeing it. TKO over Andre Petroski. Now, I will say, I thought the stoppage was a little premature, but Andre Petroski was hurt, so I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take the win. I feel as though Cam Ralston was gonna beat him anyway. I feel as though Cam Ralston was probably gonna knock him out anyway. He was just the better striker. Petrosky landed probably like 2 low kicks. Didn't really have much in the boxing for him. Didn't really throw much either. I think he attempted probably 1 takedown and like halfway shot it. Ralston was just too, long and lanky for him. I said the Shabazian matchup was a picture perfect matchup for Ralston to copy, and he did it much better than what Edmund Shabazian did against Andre Petrosky. Got him out of there in the first round. A guy who people call him, durable. I didn't really think he was that durable. I felt as though Petrosky can be cracked, and he got cracked here. And Cam Ralston, lock of the week, finishes him in the first round. Salute to Cam. I heard something about his post-fight interview, something like it was a little cringy or something. I'm not sure, but I do know he wants to get back in there pretty soon. And with the win over Petrosky, we're talking about top 30, top 40, not well, top 30, top 25 now. So why did I go to welterweights and middleweight? My apologies, y'all. But yeah, definitely a win over Petrosky. We're talking damn near, you know, cracking that top 20. So what do you do with Cam Rowston? Because he's gonna be in the thick of it now. Cam Rowston, Mikhail Olajaychik, probably be a good fight. Quick boxer, definitely resurging, his career. I would like that fight. So apparently, Joker, Jack Hermanson dropped down to welterweight, and now he's fighting Mitabek Olerbai. If you guys didn't hear that, go check out Marcel Dorf and Full Violence. I believe those two were the first to break the news on X, formerly known as Twitter. But yeah, interesting to see that. Um, I don't think Michelle Piet is going to fight again this year. Cam Rowston. Yeah, I like the Mikhail Olajaychik fight. Marco Tulio has a fight coming up against somebody, and it's a really good fight. I can't remember that matchup, but I like the Mikhail Olajaychik fight for Cam Rowston. I think he can beat a Mikhail Olajaychik. Just gotta be wary about how he closes distance, because he is getting better at closing distance with his boxing combinations. But really good win. Really good to get back in the W column with the lock of the week. We've been on a little bit of a slide, but man, I came back and I gave you guys some juice on it too. So let's keep it going to next week. Featured prelim of the night. We had Navajo Sterling taking on Rodolfo Bellato. It was a pretty good fight. Bellato, I would say he earned a little bit of respect back in my opinion. Definitely came to fight, didn't show any signs of quit. Definitely, it looked like the Bellato that fought, not Potiera, but the third round against Jimmy CRUTE, where he was biting down on his mouth guard and was willing to exchange. And I was pretty, um, I was thrown off guard to see Navajo Sterling go to that bag so early in the fight, first round, late in the first round. They were exchanging in the middle of the octagon, throwing some big combinations, and I thought Navajo was gonna play it not necessarily safe, but take the more tactical approach. But no, he was willing to go to the fire with Rodolfo. Utilize a little bit of grappling. Bellato was able to get him down at one point, but they got right back to their feet. Navajo was just a little much more, landed much more cleaner strikes in the pocket, I would say. But Bellato, like I said, he earned my respect. He definitely came to fight. I don't think he's trash. I just think he had a, lapse in, I don't know, not even his judgment in that Paul Craig fight, but it definitely didn't look good heading into this matchup. But Navajo looked good, man. I thought he could have finished Rodolfo, but Rodolfo definitely came to fight. Didn't have Poton and Glover in his corner like he did for the CRUTE fight. Kind of, well, not necessarily. They're training for next week, so I understand it. But I don't know. I don't know where Bellato goes from here. I don't know where Navajo girl goes. I don't think he's getting a ranked light heavyweight. I think mm, maybe not it. I was about to say Ming Yang Zhang, but I don't think so. Navajo versus Navajo. I don't think he's gonna fight Julius Walker. Uh, I might just go with Ming Yang Zhang or Alonzo Minifield. Those are like two of the matchups that are screaming at me right now. Because you do have Modestus, but I think Modestus is gonna get a ranked matchup. I don't think they're gonna risk Navajo versus Modestus, because Modestus is pretty good too. I know Didn't necessarily fade him last time, but I did say, it could get a little tricky with Paul Craig. Got him out of there in the first round. Nasty, elbow in the ground and pound, but I don't think they'll match those two up. So I'll say Alonzo or Mingyang Zhang. It could get a little, testy for Navo. We're gonna have to see truly what he's made of. I don't think Rodolfo necessarily pushed him to that brink yet, but he's not knocking on the door of the rankings, but probably, two to three more fights we could see Navo Sterling fighting for a ranked position in the light heavyweight division. But good win for him here. Rodolfo, I kind of want to do a little bit of matchmaking for Rodolfo too. I think there is definitely fight. I could see him fighting Julius Walker. I could see him fighting a Iran Satibardiev. I think that fight would be nasty too. He could probably knock out Iran because he's a little nastier than Navo. So yeah, Bellato versus Iran or Bellato versus Juice Box. I think those are two matchups that make sense. Good win for Sterling here. Next fight, the main card opener. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We had Tom Nolan getting the first round submission over Charlie Campbell. I don't know why a lot of people were, pretty heavy on Charlie Campbell. Throws pretty hard. They cracked Tom one point in the fight. Was on that leg kick early, but Tom Nolan is just too slick, man. I feel as though Charlie didn't really have anything other than, heavy hands for Tom Nolan, and he's shown what he's capable of doing. Charlie didn't want to go to the ground with him, didn't even follow him after he dropped him. Tom was, just very clean, very polished, got on that back, and got the rear naked choke. I like Tom Nolan. I thought he was going to win by sub. I told you he was going to win by sub, and he won by sub. So what more do I need to say? Performance of the night for him, too. So extra 50K in the Aussie dollars, whatever they're called. The Kangaroo Jacks. Tom Nolan's going to be celebrating tonight. So am I, because I'm doing pretty good on this card, as you guys could tell. Really good win for Tom Nolan. Next fight up, we had Jake Matthews win by submission in the first round, but out of nowhere, the ref says, nope, keep fighting. We'll let Neil Magny fight for the rest of the fight. And he does it again. He proves me wrong, gets a comeback submission in the third round. I just don't know what to do with Neil Magny, man. How can you pick a guy who is losing every fight and then he just comes back whenever he chooses? I can't pick him. I cannot pick him. I don't know what to do with Neil Magny, bro. The dude is, I don't know. Nobody could have predicted that. I mean, maybe you did if you're crazy, but you can't say Neil Magny's going to lose 2 rounds. You can't say Neil Magny's going to get submitted in the first round. Then the ref is going to say, no, keep fighting. And then he's going to win by submission in the third round. Nobody would have. Come on, yeah. I don't even know what to say. He's fighting his way back into the rankings somehow because he just keeps winning. But if I had to matchmake for him, man, just give him Kobe. Give him Kobe Covington. That's a fight that I believe Kobe thinks he could win. If not, give him Jeff Neal. Give him, Renat. Give him D-Rod. Yeah, do D-Rod, Neil Magny. And maybe D-Rod will probably put him out. Or maybe he'll get, Neil Magny hurt and subbed in the third round himself. So I don't know. Good win for Neil Magny, man. Proving me wrong yet again for the second time. But maybe I'll pick him in his next fight. And then watching his next fight, he get absolutely flatlined. I don't know what to do with Neil Magny, bro. Good win. Jack Jenkins, Ramon Tavares. Looked pretty much how I thought it would. I thought Ramon Tavares would have a little bit, more in his back pocket other than what he did. But like I told you, he primarily is just a boxer. Jack was a little more calculated, utilizing the kicks. Did use some wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. Did get clipped a couple of times, but definitely have Ramon on shakier legs with the head kicks, some big overhands as well, and just a more clean, calculated attack his game plan was a little better. And like I said, Ramon Tavares is just too one dimensional with just the boxing. It wasn't going to be enough to be a Jack Jenkins. Maybe if he was fighting the likes of a I was about to say Cam Smotherman, but Cam Smotherman is down at bantamweight, whereas Ramon just moved up. But I don't know if moving up to 45 and missing 45 was the right game plan, because evidently it wasn't. He lost. But I mean, he's got good hands. Maybe he should go do, not BKFC, but maybe he should go do what is it? Dirty boxing? Yeah, maybe he should go do dirty boxing. I think he'll have a better career there rather than MMA, because he does not put, the other fundamentals of mixed martial arts into his game. It's just boxing. So maybe he should change, his career around, because I do think they're probably gonna end up cutting him, especially since he cut weight or missed weight, excuse me, and with a loss. And he wasn't, I mean, he was competitive, but it wasn't enough to, like, we could keep this guy around. It wasn't like a Rolando Bedoya where he almost won. He did have a couple of moments, but Jack Jenkins was just much more cleaner. So good win for Jack Jenkins. I do think Ramon Tavares is probably on his way out, though. Missing weight, losing, not really a good sign. So it is what it is, man. Got to dial in, got to lock in, and adapt your game plan. Co-main event of the evening, Jimmy Crute, round 1. That's the way that it goes, man. First round submission. He gets it done over Ivan Erslan. Didn't really have much resistance with the takedowns either. Got him down pretty easily. Was utilizing, the wrist control pretty well, and got under that neck and got the choke. Pretty clean, pretty smooth, pretty fast. 3 minutes into the first round, got it done. And Jimmy Crute by sub lives again. If he was going to that second round, I don't know. He probably was still going to win. Ivan didn't really have an answer for the takedowns. Maybe Jimmy was just a lot more, physical than the Navajo Sterling, and definitely showed because he got the finish in the first round. So shout out Jimmy Crute with another first round submission. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I mean, yeah, Oberg won by knockout, but it was very, it didn't really live up to the hype of what I thought this main event could be, because the very first exchange that they have, Dominic Reyes just folds. I thought maybe his chin is, glass like we thought. I just thought he would put up a much better fight than that. Like, I thought maybe he'll eat something early, maybe get rocked, but I didn't think he was going to go down and, get flatline knocked out like that. I mean, yeah, Oberg's probably going to fight for the title next after, the winner of next week's event, Pereira and Ankalaev run it back. But it's like, I think he'll have a better chance against Ankalaev than Alex, because I feel as though Magomed will play that kickboxing game with him, whereas Poatan is going to try to take his head off. I think he does see openings against Alex, but I think Alex is a guy where you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to, I don't know how to put it. I don't know I'm trying to formulate what I'm trying to say. It's late. It's damn near, 2 a.m. or 1:30 a.m. But I don't know. I think him and like Ankalaev will probably go 5 rounds, because I don't think Ankalaev would use the wrestling like a lot of people would predict him to do. Like we saw him, try to take down Alex, but definitely didn't succeed. He went over 12. Whereas Oberg versus Alex, I feel as though Alex will probably deter Oberg from closing the gap. I don't think Oberg will be able to, fire the 1-2 and get it off as clean as he did against the Reyes. I feel as though he tries to fire that 1-2. I could see, Poatan firing a knee down the middle. I could see him, utilizing the teeps more than what Dominic was trying. I just think, Dominic was just a lot, or he was just way too timid in this fight. Definitely was on the back foot way too much. Gave Oberg way too much respect. Didn't, force the fight at all. Just was sitting and watching, and the very first time that they clash, he gets clipped. So there's definitely fights, for Dominic Reyes. It's just how many more times does he want to get knocked out? Because that's probably what's gonna happen moving forward because of the way that the light heavyweight division is shaped. There's a lot of killers, man. I don't think Dominic, his chin is gonna hold up against, the likes of a, let's say he fights the loser of Khalil Yuri. I think if it's Yuri, I think Yuri could probably finish him again. And if it's Khalil, I do think Khalil could probably finish him too. Probably have a better, fight, but I think Khalil could probably put him out. Maybe a Johnny Walker fight is available. I think that's definitely, that could be in the works. I think a fight against like you can't give him Guskov. You can't give him who's the other guy? Not Guskov. It's Guskov, and then there's well, I thought it was Ming Yang Zhang, but even Ming Yang Zhang I think would be a tough fight for Dominic. A fight against Uran I think would be tough. Navajo would be tough. It's just a lot of killers at 205. Modestus I think would be a tough fight because he can crack too. I don't know, man. Jamal Hill, I don't know if I mentioned him already, but refight skid. I don't know. I don't know what Dominic's chin is gonna look like in that next matchup because he got put out here easily, honestly, and didn't put up much of a fight. Olberg is who they say he is. I'm not that much of a fan, but he probably gonna end up fighting for the belt unless Yuri or Khalil puts on a way more spectacular knockout. I mean, they are in the prime position to do it. They're on the same card with the champion and the challenger. So we'll see, man. Oberg definitely made his case. He did what he needed to do. He got the finish, and it was impressive to those that were impressed. But as for me, I wanted to see Dominic Reyes back in the title picture, but that dream is long gone. Getting starched, again, it's over. I wouldn't be, shocked if he retired. I don't think he will. I probably think he fights, 2 to 3 more times at least. But yeah, man, that chin just isn't what we thought it was. The first time he gets hit, he goes down, and Carlos Oberg will be fighting possibly for the next 205 championship. But that is the full card recap. Let's go through the picks. Really solid night from me. 10-2. One with Alexia, one with Brando, one with Michelle, one with Kobe, one with Jamie, one with Cam. Lock of the week 2, and gave you guys a knockout call plus 550. One with Navajo, one with Tom. We won with Jake. But apparently you could rewrite the rules in the middle of the match and you could continue the fight. Neil Magny upset. One with Jack Jenkins, one with Jimmy CRUTE. We lost with Dominic Reyes. So 10-2, really 11-1 if you count the first round submission for Jake Matthews. But again, really solid night for the picks. Really solid night for the bets as well. So let's get to the parlays where we hit. Matthew Sterling does not come through. A little chalky, but Jake Matthews ends up selling somehow. But Sterling Pericic comes through plus 118. Sterling Tom Nolan comes through plus 128. Rowston, THAINARA Matthews does not come through, but Mularkey, Sterling, and Sutherland, which got pushed, comes through. I believe that was around like plus 330, somewhere around there. Jenkins, Rowston, Perisic over, and the Reyes Oberg fight does not come through. CRUTE inside distance hit, but Sterling doesn't get the KO, and I believe we replaced this with Brando by knockout. But Sterling sold us. Sterling Reyes does not, gets knocked out, and Matthews did win inside the distance, but it is what it is. And then of course the Big Bang 2485, Reyes sells us. We were there, man. Just one leg away. We were right there. But we made some solid, cashes on the parlays. The picks were ultra sharp. 10-2. You can't be mad at it, man. Really good fight card. We had a couple knockouts, couple subs. Definitely a really good fight card. I'll give it a 7. I did say, initially on paper it was a 7. I'm gonna stick with a 7. The energy wasn't in the building. Perth didn't really show up for this fight card like they should have, and I don't know, man. It was a good card. Don't get me wrong. It was a good card, but I just didn't feel the energy like I'm so used to feeling when we watch, these Australian fight nights or even the pay-per-views. But, if you would have put Volk and JDM on the card, that thing would have been rocking. You know what I'm saying? So it's the UFC's fault. They're going to have to, prepare the cards a lot better, especially when you have champions of that caliber that are in Australia. So that's on them. I enjoyed the fights. I hope you guys enjoyed the fights. I hope you guys enjoyed the picks, the bets, the breakdowns. We right back at it next week. UFC, 320? Magomed Ankalaev, Poatan, Merab Dvalishvili taking on Corey Sandhagen, Yuri Prohashka taking on Khalil Roundtree. It's really, really good card. I'm excited to break it down. Getting straight to it tomorrow. The video will be out Monday night. Make sure you guys tune in. If you want to support the channel, the Cashapp is in the bio. I appreciate anything, even if it's $1, if it's 50 cents, whatever you got. I appreciate it all. I thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you for the next one. Peace out.